Ladies and
Uh,
gentlemen, welcome to Discussion Lounge, Debate Club. So Gio thought that it would be a great idea for us to have a little debate, and I came prepared. I don't know who debates in a sweater, and I don't know what he's got like some video game T-shirt on.
No, no,
a
that's
NASA
NASA.
shirt, a
He's got a
NASA shirt.
NASA
So
shirt on, so yeah, so
It's a
of
little appropriate.
course, it's okay. But I got hold on. Move Bernie Sanders. We got Baby Yoda. He's gonna be watching me.
his name's
Uh,
Grogu.
Grogu.
Because he's an
I
alien.
got my junior debate winner medal here. Hector was there actually. I beat his ass. I think maybe he was part of that debate. I don't know. I think you were. I think
Yeah,
I think I beat that ass.
I was
You
disqualified.
were.
I was disqualified for saying a bad word.
You said a bad word in the middle of your debate and you lost. Loser. No self control.
Yeah, nah. I think the teachers were just hating on me because I was going up against their top students and I was crushing them and they didn't like that. So like we need to stop this guy. They gave me a double technical and I was ejected.
Yeah, I remember that. That was great, actually. One of my top memories of high school for sure. So Gio, he thought that the topic would be awesome to discuss aliens. Have they visited us before? Hector in debate in high school fashion didn't do his homework, so he's gonna be the moderator. So we're gonna do opening statements. Actually, Hector, you can go ahead and
Yeah.
moderate because
All
I
right.
gotta think about what I gotta talk about here.
All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first annual discussion lounge debate clinic. On one side, I have your master debater, Alan, and on the other side, I have your other master debater, Gio. They're each going to provide an opening statement on this question. Do aliens exist? If they do, to what extent? What are they? Where do they come from? Right? So each side is going to have opening statement and then it's going to be just a free for all. They're going to go at it. I'm just going to make sure that they don't get out of hand. Um, I kind of wanted to. I want this to be like a, Trump Joe Biden part 2, right? Oh, shut up, man. So I want all that. So okay, so I'm gonna flip a coin, right? And then whoever gets it right, or Alan, I'll have you pick. All
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna flip a coin.
Tails.
Nope. Gio, you go first.
Okay. We should clarify. Actually, so the question wasn't
I object.
whether
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
what. Okay. So the question isn't that there aliens or not. Is that my position is that we have never been visited by aliens, and we're not currently being visited by aliens.
So with that statement alone, it implies that there are aliens, or that
Yeah,
at
yeah.
very
Well, there
okay.
might be. Yeah, that's not the question. Is not whether there are or aren't. The question is whether we've been visited or not. Just
Well,
to clarify.
then Gio, you could start. I'm not gonna tell you how to start, but you could very well start by saying that you do believe aliens exist and why.
Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Well, so this is my opening statement.
Thank you.
Um, so there's no my position is that there's no credible evidence that we are currently or have ever been visited by extraterrestrials. And let me clarify what I'm not saying. Like I said, I'm not saying that there is no alien life in the universe. That's not what I'm saying. The universe is huge and maybe infinite, so there's likely both simple and complex organisms out there somewhere, right? Very likely.
Okay.
Um, but there's no scientific proof that they have come here to Earth.
Okay.
Let's talk about the evidence that is provided usually. For thousands of years, humans have reported unexplained aerial phenomenon and encounters with other worldly beings. Um, but just because you see something you can't explain doesn't mean it's aliens. It's a huge jump to go from there's a light in the sky to extraterrestrials are visiting the planet Earth. Right? Uh, it could be many things, like it could be misunderstandings, hallucinations, and even faulty memories, right? Like our memories can't, like, we can't rely on our senses or our memories usually, because we're flawed, right? We're human beings. Eyewitness testimony is the worst form of evidence in science. It has been shown to not hold up to scrutiny in all circumstances because humans, like I said, are flawed. We need to bring the scientific method to the question, right? Like when you examine a car crash, you're not there when the car crash happened, but you can examine what was left behind. Sometimes people claim that aliens could be so powerful that they can remove all traces of evidence that they're here, and that's how they're able to maintain their their cloak here on Earth. But then you can say the same thing about like gods or angels or even magical unicorns that maybe have the same powers.
Okay, so
Sorry,
oh.
I'm not. A few more minutes. One more minute. We also need to consider the idea that human militaries possess highly advanced tech that has not been made public. Without good evidence, everybody's just speculating on things. Let's look at the physics of the problem. It is self-evident that aliens have not conquered the Earth, right? There's no evidence unless you talk about reptilians, right? But that's also just more speculation, and they have not openly revealed themselves. And so the question is why? Well, our galaxy, the Milky Way, is a few billion years old, right? From what we can tell, and even while moving at a fraction of the speed of light, the galaxy could be completely colonized in just a few million years. Compare that with the lifespan of the galaxy, right? It's like 5 billion years old. We could, at moving at a really slow pace, at say 10% of the speed of light, we could colonize every single star system in the galaxy in a few million years, in a fraction of the time of the lifespan of the galaxy. And yet we don't see evidence of stars being enveloped in solar panels or like massive construction projects that you would expect from some galactic empire expanding outwards. After all, these are the kind of things that life does, right? It assimilates energy and matter and in order to perpetuate itself. If our galaxy had an ecosystem of interstellar alien civilizations, then you would have to have all of them agree to not openly interfere in primitive civilizations like ours. They would also have to agree, all of them would have to agree to not conquer the galaxy outright. Multiple alien societies with different histories and biologies all agreeing on the same thing. Look at what we agree here on Earth. We don't agree much here on Earth, and we're from the same planet, and we're the same species. So how are you going to get multiple civilizations across the galaxy that all say, hey, we're not going to interfere with anybody, and if we do, we're going to do it in a cloaked fashion? All you need is just one civilization to be like, hey, I'm going to fucking do whatever I want, and there's nothing you guys can do about it.
Okay.
So that was a fucking gish gallop. That was not an opening fucking statement.
Alan,
opening statement,
Alan,
3 minutes.
Alan, stand down and stand by. Okay, stand down and stand by. Gio, okay, so first of all, I didn't know this was timed opening, so I had no idea, so I don't have a clock with me. But I think that went on for like 12 minutes. Alan, I'm gonna let you do openings. Yeah. I'm gonna let you do your opening statement so Gio can hear it, and then I'm gonna have you immediately rebuttal to what Gio's opening statement is or was, and then Gio, you guys are gonna just start going at it. Cool.
Okay. All right.
I'll
put a timer.
So, yeah, that was a lot to answer to, right? And Gio definitely, is going off of the, he wants the scientific method, but I think that, his last question was, well, let me go step by step, like what I have to say, right? So definitely, I think that we have been visited by aliens prior, and this is why I think that, right? There are ancient civilizations that we don't even know about, right? There's like the earth has corroded on top of these civilizations, that there's literally buildings that are being scanned. Like there's areas of land that are being scanned now with technology, and you can tell that there's structures underneath that we have no idea have been there. Don't know how long they've been there. So we don't really know if there's been people here who have maybe achieved a certain technology, and then maybe something happened where they had to leave or anything. We honestly really don't know. But there's evidence of, what we do have evidence of is ancient civilizations who have seen what we are seeing now, what people are claiming to see now, right? And that is UFOs, something coming from the sky. Gio says that they could be misunderstandings, or they can be hallucinations, but fast forward to 2021, 2019, 20, whenever, there's been military, highly trained military that are handling very high speeds at very, crazy velocities in jet planes, right? These pilots, and they have witnessed these encounters as well. So I think that for us to say that these highly trained individuals who have their pilot training and they're out there surveying the skies and they're seeing these things that they can't explain, I think that we should take that into account, very seriously, actually. So on top of that, we have the government secrecy, right? We have places like Area 51 that we don't know what is in them. We have government agents who have come forward and said, I had a job here or there, and I've witnessed things that I can't explain. There's even accounts from people like Bob Lazar, who is out there, who he says that he came across an element that's not even on our periodic table, right? So he doesn't know how it got there. He doesn't know. He was used. They used him to reverse engineer this propulsion system that they had stored away, and they didn't know how it worked, right? So this is a story that he never wanted to get out because he was getting harassed by the government. So the motives there, I don't know what they could be, right? So we have all that, and then on top of that, we have just human accounts, right? We have people with cell phones, of course. Fake footage can be taken, of course, but so much of it, I don't know. It's kind of sketch, right? Another thing I wanted to add is since the COVID bill talk is famous, is popular right now, the COVID bill actually had a part in it that required intelligence agencies to disclose all UFO info in 180 days. So this is something that, and like Gio said, UFO doesn't necessarily mean, alien, but if it's technology that's way beyond stuff that we don't have, we know other countries definitely don't have. If it's stuff that's breaking like the laws of our physics, which our military says they have seen it, and they've had, not only is there visual accounts, but their radars have seen it and experienced it. I don't know what else can be considered actual evidence.
Okay, excellent. Alan, I'm gonna have you go again, but I'm gonna have you address whatever part you want to address for Gio's opening statement, and I'm gonna give you guys a minute each to do that.
All right.
I'll have it timed right here.
All right. I think I kind of answered it, but I'll like I said, I'll go again. I think that we have been visited. If we go back to ancient civilizations, right, we even have buildings, right, structures that we don't know how they were made or how they were put there, right? There's technology at that time that we did not have to move structures of that size, to create structures of that size, and within those structures, right, you have hieroglyphics of UFOs, of things that are coming from the sky. We see this over and over, and not only do we just see it in Egypt, right? We see it in the Mayans, we see it in the Incas, right? We see it across the world where they were seeing these things, right? So to me, it can't be like a coincidence, right? I like to cite real quick the ancient sites right now that we have no idea how they got there, right? So that's Easter Island, the Teotihuacan pyramids in Mexico, the Stonehenge, the Egyptian pyramids. One second, the Nazca, the Nazca lines in Peru.
Mr. Trump.
One second, and the fortress of Sixayuhuamen. Right, so those are all sites that we don't know how they got there or how they were built. Sorry, go ahead.
Got you. 1 minute.
So so there's a couple things, right? There's the jet pilots that have seen things that are reported to be otherworldly. We have the story of Bob Lazar, and where's that?
Hector, you're breathing right into your mic.
Oh, this Hector. Okay, cool. So Bob Lazar, and also I'll start with what's known as the ancient astronaut theory, right? Which is referring to the idea that ancient civilizations could not have built the megaliths that they built, like for example the pyramids at Giza or the pyramids in Mexico, that they needed to have had some sort of assistance from extraterrestrials with their advanced technology, right? So people sometimes claim that these megalithic structures were not constructed by humans and could not have been constructed by humans back in the day. But I think this is sort of a like a modernist perspective and or a Western centric notion that humans from 2000 to 3000 years ago were stupid or inferior, when in fact it's perfectly reasonable that humans did develop the knowledge to build things and to acquire knowledge, but they've lost it due to societal collapse.
Well, that's something that I mentioned, right? That we have societies that we don't even know about, that like their buildings have been corroded by like jungles and stuff like that, and they might have had the technology to either travel or they got here from somewhere, right? So I did throw that credit out there. I didn't say that they were dumb. That's a straw man.
Okay, so one thing is to say that these civilizations did it themselves and that they lost the technology or they lost the knowledge, and another thing is to say that extraterrestrials from another planet came and helped them out, right? There's two different ideas there. One I think is more likely and is a lot simpler to propose, right? According to Occam's razor, you have to say that what's more likely, that these civilizations had the technology and they've collapsed, like we know civilizations collapse from time to time, or that we are being visited by some interstellar civilization from like hundreds of light years away, and they're coming down here with like massive amounts of technology to change everything.
Okay.
I would say it's the first one. That's more likely to have happened. We could talk about Bob Lazar.
If you want to, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The
So
Pokemon?
Bulbasaur.
Oh.
Bob Lazar, he claims to have worked at an area near Area 51, a site called S4. There's no evidence that S4 exists. He claimed this back in the 80s, right? And he came forward in the 90s. There's no evidence that S4 exists. We know that Area 51 exists, right? We everybody knows that exists, but S4 we don't. There's never been evidence. He claims to have worked on. He worked with a unit that was reverse engineering alien technology.
Hector, your mic. You're breathing into your mic.
When he speaks, I get the impression that he's smart, right? Bob Lazar, if you actually listen to him.
Mm-hmm.
However, he gets a few things wrong in his story. He brought up element 115, right?
Yeah.
He claims he laid out the properties of this element, that it's radioactive but pretty stable. Well, since his story in the early 90s, we've actually synthesized element 115. We did it in 2003, and the element is very unstable. Like there's no, the properties that he claims to element 115 has, it does not have. So there needs to be some reconciliation there, like what's up with that. He also claims that he went to Caltech and MIT to get degrees in physics and engineering. My question is, why would he go to both schools? Like, what is he trying to prove, right? It seems like a story that you would make up, that, oh, I went to Caltech and I went to MIT and I got degrees in both schools, right? I got PhDs and master's degrees from both. There's also no evidence that he ever went to those schools. Like, you can look at the records and you can't find him. Even other ufologists have come and investigated his story and looked up, like, did he go there? And there's no evidence that he ever went to these schools. The professor that he claims that he was taught under is the same. He gave a name, right, for the professor. That professor does not work at Caltech or MIT, but he does work at a community college that Bob Lazar went to, right? So those are odd things to lie about. And so then he gives a really fantastic story about working reverse engineering alien technology. I don't think he's a very credible person.
Alan.
Okay. Yeah, we can talk about Bob Lazar forever. If anybody actually wants to see, he had a long conversation with Joe Rogan. So you can kind of follow that. He's not the only source that I was citing, but yeah, definitely he's one of them. A lot of the first thing that you said, right? You said that either the ancient civilization had the technology to move these structures already, right? Or they got help from an outside alien source, right? And you said that you believe the first one more than, Right.
It's a simpler idea.
It's a simpler idea.
And it's simpler idea. It requires less baggage and less like speculation. We know that civilizations collapse from time to time and lose their knowledge and technology, and so it's not unreasonable to believe that that's the exact same thing that happened there.
Okay. So couldn't it be possible that like an alien landed? Nah, let's not go there. I want to go back up to my up to this, right? So yeah, if you believe that they already had the technology to move these structures, then what explains the sightings from the military, right? They have sightings of these objects that are going from hundreds of miles an hour at Mach speeds, and then completely stopping and making like a 90-degree angle turn, and then like dropping elevation insanely quickly, and then moving back up, doing all these weird things that no other thing that we have can do, that we don't know any other country has. Why do you think that these encounters are not credible?
It sounds like you're referring to the Tic Tac incident off the coast of San Diego, right? The jet fighter was on with the pilot. I think was on with Joe Rogan at one point, or if not with Lex Friedman. But yeah, there was a report of an object that was in the shape of a Tic Tac that was moving very rapidly and would fly up and down and in a very in a almost unrealistic or physically impossible manner, right? So there has been analysis, and there's also video, right, to corroborate their stories.
Mm-hmm.
There's like 3 different videos of it in the targeting cam for the jet fighter.
Yeah.
So there has been analysis on the video itself, and it does show that you can make the if you do the math and you can make the argument that what they're seeing is not actually what they think they're seeing, right? In one instance, there's a object moving really close to the sea, right? And they're tracking it, and it's moving very rapidly, right? And it looks like it's moving really fast close to the ocean, and they're tracking it. You would, if you do the analysis, and you can get into that, right?
Your mic is hitting your jacket.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
So you can do the analysis, and you can show that it's actually not moving fast. It's actually the jet fighter that's moving really fast, right? So, and then there's another image or video of an object that's like rotating, and that looks more to be since it's an infrared camera, it's actually picking up the exhaust from an airplane that's really far away. And so in all these circumstances, you can say that they're actually being misinterpreted for what in a way it's not really what they are. One thing I would bring up about jet pilots is that yes, they are trained at engaging with other aerial objects, right? But they're not scientists, right? So they're not trained in actually analyzing and employing the scientific method in real time to say, okay, these are all the possible things that it could be, even things that I'm not aware of, right? And then analyze the situation in that way. If you ask astronomers, right, who spend all their time looking at the sky, at the night sky, you never hear about astronomers reporting UFOs or things that they can't explain, because they're actually trained in analyzing things that they can't explain and trying to explain them, right? A jet pilot doesn't necessarily have a scientific background, and so would not be able to account for all the possibilities of what's actually going on.
Yeah, but those very same scientists and astronomers can't account for things like the structures that I was talking about in ancient pyramids and stuff like that. So just they can't explain it, so they just move on to other shit, right? But
yeah, but just because you can't explain it doesn't mean it's aliens. Right?
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
It's a huge jump, right?
But it's not a huge jump when you consider everything, right? Because I'm saying consider everything. Everything that I threw out in my opening statement, when you're talking about ancient civilizations, we're talking about drawings, we're talking about lines in deserts, right? We're talking about all of these countries having the same things, like from Peru to to Egypt, right? To Incas, to Mayans. We're having all all of these encounters being documented on the walls. We have, you know, these structures that we can't explain how they got there. When you the military, right, all the secrecy, all the money in the defense budget that's going to all this stuff. Like, I found out that in the defense budget we had $22 million aside for something called the AATIP, called the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. So this program no longer exists, but it was ran by a military intelligence official who was quoted saying that they found compelling evidence that we're not alone. And this was something published by CNN. You know, and in 180 days, there was something in the COVID bill saying that they're going to have to tell us what the hell these UFOs are. Right? So all of that collectively, right, is what I'm looking at. I'm not just looking at one piece of evidence, or, you know, this you know, just using one thing as the end all be all. But when you look at all these things as a whole, and then you consider, you know, how vast the space is, where we just landed on Mars with a rover and found out that there could be possibility that there was frozen water. I don't know. I think that there's a higher possibility than you think.
There is a possibility. I'm not claiming that there is not a possibility. I'm saying that there's no convincing evidence for it. And yes, you've laid out a bunch of data points that show that something weird is going on, but there's a lot of weird shit that could be going on before jumping to the conclusion that there's aliens, right? You have to consider the fact, or the idea, the possibility also that things are just misinterpreted for what may not be there. Yeah. So, like, we're jumping to conclusions. You can't just say I can't explain this. I can't explain the ancient megaliths. I can't explain aerial phenomenon by jet pilots. I can't explain any of this, and then jump to the conclusion that there's aliens. That's not a scientific approach to things. You need to consider first what is more likely, and the first thing that you would consider is that people are misinterpreting things, misunderstanding things. They don't know what they're seeing. Because they're not trained in being able to determine what they're seeing, and also, like you said, the military is investigating aerial phenomenon that are unidentified and that there could be threats. That's very reasonable, right? Because you could have, it's also entirely possible before there's aliens that the Chinese and the Russians are working on experimental technology that's way beyond anything that we've seen, including the United States, right? They could all be working on these things, but that is more. It's a simpler theory. It's much more concise, and, in my opinion, much more likely than the idea that we're being visited by extraterrestrials, right? Out of nowhere, like people, when people think, oh, there's something in the sky, it must be aliens. For me, that's such a like out of left field, right? Like, why do you have to go to here all of a sudden when there's so many other things that it could be, right? Before you actually get to the most, the craziest like explanation.
Okay. All right.
All right.
So,
My other last piece of evidence before I think we should wrap this up, because it's been an interesting conversation. Let me just make sure that I get the dates right on this real quick. Okay. Yeah. So, in 1996, actually, documents were found of an alien invasion, and Will Smith motherfucking knocked those fools out. And if you don't believe that shit happened, bro, you're crazy. That shit was legit. That was real stuff, bro. You could look it up yourself. Check it out. It happened. Yeah.
Star Wars was a documentary, right?
Yeah, Star Wars was real. Grogu is real. Everyone who's from space has a British accent. That's something that
Obi-Wan Kenobi has a British accent for some
Yeah,
reason.
everybody, like fucking Thor, everyone that's from space is fucking speaks proper English. That's something that we know. That would be something that I would hate if fucking aliens came down and they spoke that proper English shit. I'd be like, nah, man, I don't want to talk to you. Uh, anyways, guys, it's been interesting. It was a fun conversation. I think Gio got obliterated in this debate. Got dunked on. He
The
just completely destroyed. What else did they say in the
uh,
interwebs?
no, the everyone at home got to vote through text, like in American Idol,
Oh, okay.
and the numbers are in. It's a draw.
Oh no. Okay, we'll have to debate another topic in the future.
I'll take a draw. Yeah, we'll continue this.
All right, guys. Discussion Lounge fans, thank you guys for sticking around. We did a fun little debate for you guys. Get you thinking about the world out there, the galaxy spheres. Yeah, it was fun. Thanks to my co-hosts and to our 22, 23 subscribers out there, whoever you guys are. Thank you guys so much for watching our content. Leave us some comments. Let us know who you guys are. That'll be cool. Let's engage. I think we're like 600 plus views now, total views on our content. So that's really cool. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be having more stuff out soon, and we appreciate you guys. And let's let us know who you guys are out there. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you to my
All right, guys.
co-hosts, and yeah, guys, sign off.